What is up, guys? Yes, the title is not a lie. I actually got to talk to Brandon himself from Boss Studios to get a little bit more clarification about Azure Latch, and I think the info I got will help y'all a lot. And currently, the game direction actually seems a bit better than I thought. Once again, to clarify, this is all my own opinions. I know this seems like quite a switch up from the last video saying Azure Latch is cooked, but I got my reasons that I'll explain to y'all in a second for why I think the game's actually going in a pretty good direction now. Firstly, I appreciate the absolute chokehold this thumbnail has had on Azure Latch General for the past 3 days, bro. People have made like, how many variations of this thumbnail are we on now? Like 13? And it's great. I appreciate y'all. That thumbnail could have also gotten me in legal trouble and maybe got some staff demoted, but I won't elaborate more on that stuff right now, at least in this video. Anyway, I got to talk to Brandon and DCJ through a lucky connection who had him and DCJ in a group chat, which I saw was a golden opportunity to clear some stuff up with the community that we have been dying to know. So I drafted up some questions, asked you guys for some, and here's what I got. Now, some of these questions would have been better answered by DCJ, but I still got a ton of information from the owner himself regardless. Now, he didn't answer all of them, but I'll go question by question and give him his response for the ones he did answer. My first question was about clarification of what actually happened with the game being sold. Because, I heard some people saying, like, Emmy sold the game behind the dev team's back, and other people were saying the dev team sold it behind Emmy's back, and just people don't really know. And DCJ didn't really respond to this, so that's still unclear. Sorry. But the second one was about the staff team, and specifically how much of the old development and staff team is left and still actively working on the game. As for this, Brandon said similar things in announcements, that he tried to keep as many staff on board as possible, but obviously with his terms and such, this ideal quickly turned impossible to do. He mentioned that still a good portion of the team was left though, and obviously left-right was back too, and the game is overall seeming to go in a good direction so far with all their management. Now, I'd say the lack of developer commitment to the team was likely due to the aforementioned contracts he wanted them to work on, so although I haven't seen the contracts myself, I totally understand why they left. Might have been too long-term or something, the pay wasn't what they wanted, whatever. I mean, I think they're totally justified in leaving. Now, my next question was if he could provide any clarification on the quote-unquote issues that he and the team experienced with the transfer and acquisition of the game. And he stated that, as much as he'd like to call it the issues and difficulties the old dev team left in their wake, they were young, and it's not his goal to smear their image at all, because his intentions lie in the good of the game and its community. Now, on one hand, I will say that, don't play with fire unless you want to get burnt. As a studio that buys up Roblox games full of wild card and unpredictable devs and staff like this, it's your job and responsibility to deal with problems like this. But on the other hand, he's likely telling the truth about the issues mainly lying in the old dev team's court rather than it being his doing. Recently, the former staff and development team have had some issues that have been brought to light recently, and that drama likely carried into how they operated things too. So, as for consistency and a lack of update delays, that is the positive side of having a studio run things. It's going to be a lot more consistent, and deadlines are going to be met a lot better. Now, the next question is probably the most important one. How are you going to monetize the game? Because at the end of the day, you're still going to make profit, plus Emmy's getting a 30% cut, plus you got to pay the development team, and any other costs like that 70,000 Robux spread model. Now, the first thing he talked about was some clarification on his past record of games under his corporation. Firstly, he stated that his previous game acquisitions, Anime Last Stand and Anime Rangers X, are recognized as some of the most free-to-play friendly games. And for the most part, he's right. I mean, these games only have like a few VIP game passes that don't really add much. They have like one speed increaser for the rounds, and some minor things that don't really change gameplay much. So overall, they are pretty free-to-play friendly. He also elaborated on this infamous screenshot from AOPG that I, and many others, used to kind of show that Azure Latch might be cooked. He stated that this was their main game around 4-ish years ago, and that although it was aggressively monetized, it was their main pillar to build up the company and help get everything moving with employees, contractors, and all that. Now, yes, the bottom line is that the game is still pay-to-win as hell, and it probably shouldn't have been managed that bad. But his recent track record of games is pretty solid Game Pass-wise, and considering how fierce his community will fight back if Azure Latch is made pay-to-win, the reality is we should for the most part be fine. However, I did try to dig for specifics on this incoming monetization. Like, what, are we going to have a different gacha system, new cosmetics like skins, or goal effects, or what? And to this, he stated that he's pretty much leaving that entire thing in the hands of the development team. So if anything bad happens pay-to-win-wise, I guess mostly blame the development team, I guess. And lastly, I asked about the status of the update and just content progress in general, since everyone's been talking about it and wanting to know if it's actually coming out, because the delays have been, really bad. It was originally like August 3rd, and now it's like August 30th, which is kind of insane. And he did promise bi-weekly content updates, I'd assume after Kunigami, because it's been like a month since the last update already. And furthermore, that the team overall is very structured now compared to the quote-unquote inconsistent updates and management that the old team had. However, to clarify though, he did say that he has full respect and gratitude for Emmy and the old team for creating the game in the first place and running it for this long. So overall, yeah, we'll probably be fine. Only time will tell though. So yeah, that's where we're at now. If you enjoyed or were informed, showing support and subscribing goes a long way. Still need that damn content creator role, so a sub would greatly help out. But anyway, thanks for watching, have a great day, and I'll see you next time.